standing in a circle of friends while they are whispering secrets about someone else. You feel that tight knot in your stomach. You want to leave, but you don't. You just nod and smile because you are terrified. You think if you don't join in, they will turn on you next. But you know what's crazy? There are some people who never gossip, ever. And instead of being outsiders, they are actually the most powerful people in the room. Everyone trusts them. Everyone wants to be around them. They aren't judging anyone and they aren't boring. They just know something that the rest of the group doesn't. It turns out they are playing a completely different game. While everyone else is just looking for some fun, they are using a secret trick to get real respect. And the best part, you can learn it too. Today, I am going to teach you exactly how to do it. I'm going to show you how to shut down gossip without making things awkward. It's not about being mean, it's about being smart. You can use these tricks at lunch tomorrow. You can use them at work. And once you do, you will realize that being the quiet one is actually a superpower. Pay close attention because we are about to change your social life for good. Why is keeping your mouth shut actually a power move? Because every time you gossip, you are triggering a psychological law that destroys your own reputation. Yeah, yours. This rule is called spontaneous trait transference. That is a big fancy name, but the idea is actually very simple. It works like a mirror, and once you understand this rule, you will never want to speak badly about anyone ever again. Imagine you are talking to a friend named Bob. You are complaining about a coworker named Sarah. You tell Bob, "Did you hear about Sarah? She is so lazy. She plays on her phone all day, and she is extremely dirty." You are clearly talking about Sarah. You are using Sarah's name. But Bob's brain does something weird. Even though you are using the words lazy and dirty to describe Sarah, Bob's brain starts to connect those words to you. Because you are the one saying the words, Bob unconsciously starts to think that you might be lazy and dirty, or at the very least, his brain decides that you are a negative person. It is like a boomerang. You throw the dirt at someone else, hoping to make them look bad, but the dirt curves around and hits you right in the face. The people who gossip the most often don't realize this is happening. They think they are building a bond. Bob and I agree that Sarah is bad, so we are friends. But deep down, Bob's brain is sending a warning. He is thinking, if this person talks this way about Sarah, what is he going to say about me when he talks with someone else? People who don't gossip understand this rule instinctively. They know that every time you criticize someone, you are actually damaging your own reputation. They know that if they don't throw dirt, they won't get dirty. Now you might be thinking, okay, I see the trap. I know it kills my reputation, but I'm still getting sucked in. It feels too hard to walk away. So, what do I do? That is the million-dollar question. And the answer isn't about willpower, it's about biology. We have to look at why your brain is actually wired to fight against you. It all starts with our ancestors. Think about monkeys and apes in the jungle. Have you ever seen a video of monkeys sitting together? Usually they are picking through each other's fur. They are picking out bugs, dirt, and little tangled knots. This is called grooming. It looks like they are just cleaning each other, but they are actually doing something much more important. They are making friends. When a monkey cleans another monkey, it is saying, "I like you, I will take care of you. We are on the same team." It helps them bond. It helps them feel safe. But as humans, we don't have fur to clean. And we live in very big groups. You can't sit down and pick bugs off of 100 people in your office or your school. It would take too long and it would be pretty gross. So humans invented a new way to connect. We invented talking. And specifically, we invented talking about other people. When someone leans in and whispers a secret to you, it is just like the monkey picking a bug off your shoulder. It is their way of saying, "I trust you. You and I are close. We are a team." When this happens, your brain releases chemicals. These are like little messages that tell your body how to feel. One of these chemicals is called oxytocin. This is the bonding chemical. It makes you feel close to someone. Another one is called dopamine. This is the reward chemical. It feels like eating a piece of candy or winning a prize. So when people gossip, their brains are throwing a little party. They feel happy, safe, and excited. This is why it is so hard to stop. It is literally addictive. It is like junk food for your social life. It tastes really good right when you eat it, but it doesn't give you any real energy. And if you eat too much of it, it makes you sick. Now you know that gossip hurts your reputation because of spontaneous trait transference. But you also know that your brain craves it because of evolution. You are stuck in the middle. How do you stop the cycle without making your friends hate you? How do you say no to the gossip without looking like an outsider? You need a strategy. You can't just be quiet and you can't be mean. You need to be smart. I am going to give you 3 specific tricks you can use. Here's the first trick. It is called the boredom response. Remember that the gossiper wants a reaction. They want you to gasp. They want you to laugh. They want you to say, "No way." That reaction is the fuel for their fire. If you give them a big reaction, you are giving them more dopamine. You are rewarding them. So the best way to stop them is to stop rewarding them. You have to become the most boring person in the world. Let's practice. A friend runs up to you and says, "Oh my gosh, did you hear that Dave got fired? It was crazy." Instead of asking why or what happened, you just shrug your shoulders. You make your face look very plain. You say something like, "Huh, that's too bad." And then you look away or take a bite of your sandwich. Do you see what happened? You didn't tell them to shut up. You weren't mean. You just didn't give them any energy. It is like trying to light a match, but the match is wet. It just won't spark. If you do this enough times, people will naturally stop bringing you gossip. They won't even realize why. They will just feel like it isn't fun to tell you secrets. They will go find someone else who gasps and laughs. And that is exactly what you want. You are training them how to treat you. But sometimes being boring isn't enough. Sometimes the gossip is really mean, and you feel like you need to say something to change the vibe. This brings us to the second trick. It is called the kind twist. This is like a mental martial art. You take the bad thing they said and you twist it into a nice thing. Let's say someone says, "Jennifer is so selfish. She never answers my texts. She thinks she is too cool for us." You can feel the pressure to agree, but instead you say, "Yeah, I noticed she hasn't been texting back. I think she is just really stressed out with her boyfriend. She seems super tired lately." Look at what you did there. You didn't say the other person was lying. You agreed that Jennifer isn't texting back. But you changed the reason. You changed the story from "Jennifer is mean" to "Jennifer is tired." This puts the gossiper in a tough spot. If they keep arguing, they look like a bully. They would have to say, "No, she isn't tired. She is evil." And nobody wants to sound like that. So usually they will just agree with you. They will say, "Yeah, maybe she is just tired." Boom, you just stopped the gossip. You made the conversation positive. And you didn't make anyone feel awkward. You actually made yourself look really good. You showed that you are a kind person who gives people the benefit of the doubt. Now, those 2 tricks are great for handling small gossip. But what about the really toxic stuff? What about when someone is just ranting and complaining and trying to pull you into their mess? This is where you use the third trick. It is called the future lens. This is a powerful move because it forces the other person to stop judging and start thinking. It takes the conversation from the past, which is just complaining, to the future, which is about action. Here's how it works. Let's say your friend is complaining about their boss. They are saying, "He is so unfair. He hates me. He is the worst boss ever." They are going on and on. Instead of joining in and saying, "Yeah, he sounds terrible," you ask a simple question. You say, "Wow, that sounds really stressful. Do you have a plan to fix it?" Notice the shift. You aren't judging the boss. You aren't judging your friend. You are asking, what is the plan? This stops the gossip loop immediately. Gossip relies on staying in the problem. It relies on just swimming around in the negativity. When you ask, "Do you have a plan to fix it?" you force their brain to wake up. They have to switch from complaining mode to solving mode. They might say, "I don't know, maybe I'll talk to him." Or they might say, "Maybe I'll look for a new job." Suddenly you aren't gossiping anymore. You are having a real conversation about their life and their choices. You turned a toxic venting session into a helpful strategy session, and you did it just by asking one question. Now, let's talk about what happens to your life when you use these three tricks. At first, it might feel a little lonely. You might realize that some of your friends don't know what to talk about if they aren't talking about other people. You might realize that your whole friendship was built on complaining. That can be sad. You might lose some of those friends. But think about it. Gossip is like fast food. It is cheap, it is easy to get, and it is everywhere. But if you eat it every day, you feel sick. Real friendship is like a home-cooked meal. It takes more time to make. It takes more effort. But it makes you strong and healthy. When you stop eating the fast food of gossip, you make room for better conversations. You start talking about ideas. You talk about your dreams. You talk about funny things that happened to you. You talk about books or movies or hobbies. These are the things that build real, strong connections. People who don't gossip build actual friendships. This means they are close to people because they like them, not because they hate the same person. And there is an even bigger reward. When you stop gossiping, you become something very special in your group. You become the person who keeps secrets safe. Imagine everyone in your school or office is a bucket with a hole in the bottom. If you pour water into the bucket, it leaks out. If you tell a secret to a gossiper, it leaks out to everyone else. Everyone knows this. They might laugh with the gossiper, but they don't trust the gossiper. They know that the bucket has a hole. But you are a solid steel vault. You don't have any holes. Over time, people notice this. They notice that you never say mean things. They notice that when they tell you something, it stays with you. Suddenly, you become the most trusted person in the room. People will come to you with their real problems. They will ask you for help. They will tell you their biggest secrets, the ones they are scared to tell anyone else. This gives you a different kind of popularity. It isn't the loud, flashy popularity of the class clown. It is the quiet, strong respect of a leader. You have influence. People care what you think because they know you are honest. Let's also talk about your brain energy. Have you ever noticed how tired you feel after listening to drama for an hour? It is exhausting. Your brain has to work really hard to keep track of all the lies and the secrets. Who is mad at whom? What did she say? Is he lying? It is like carrying a heavy backpack everywhere you go. It makes you feel tired and slow. When you quit gossip, you feel lighter. You have more energy to do things you actually love. You can focus on your art, or your sports, or your video games, or just relaxing. You aren't wasting your precious brain power on drama that doesn't matter. Also, not gossiping is a way to protect yourself. Think about why people gossip. Usually it is because they feel insecure. They don't feel good about themselves. So they try to bring other people down to their level. It is like running a race. Because they feel slow, they try to trip the people in front of them so they don't look bad. When you refuse to trip people, you are sending a powerful message. You are saying, I don't need to cheat to win. I can run fast on my own. This shows a high level of self-esteem. It shows confidence. And confidence is magnetic. People want to be around confident people. They feel safe around you. When you become the non-gossiper, you start to change the room just by being there. You might feel like you are just being quiet, but you are actually leading. You are setting the rules. You are showing everyone that it is possible to be interesting without being mean. So the next time you are at a lunch table or a party and the whispers start, don't panic. Remember that nervous feeling is actually a warning light. It is telling you to stay safe. You don't have to make a big speech. You don't have to storm out of the room. Take a deep breath. Just say, huh, and take a bite of your food. Be as boring as a rock. Turn their mean story into a nice story. Maybe they are just having a bad day. Or ask them, how do you think you'll handle that? Let the silence sit there for a second. It might feel awkward for a moment, but that awkwardness is just the sound of you breaking the pattern. You are stepping off the hamster wheel. You might not get the quick laughs right away, but you are building something much better. You are building a name for yourself. You are building a reputation as the person who can be trusted. The people who gossip are chasing cheap plastic tokens. But you are collecting real gold. You are playing a different game, a better game. And in this game, the quietest player is usually the winner. So don't be afraid of the silence. Embrace it. That is the sound of your own strength. If you liked learning about how your brain works and why people do what they